Hi guys, we are doing exploring angle pairs today. So adjacent angles are two coplanar angles with a common side, a common vertex, and no common interior points. So when we draw a picture of this, it looks like this. So if we're going to draw a picture, it's going to look like this. You're going to have one angle here, one angle here. The most important thing is that they share a side and that they share a vertex. They don't overlap, and it doesn't matter what they add up to. Vertical angles are two angles whose sides are opposite rays. So if I were to draw two lines here, okay, I would have an angle here, angle here, angle here, and an angle here. 1 and 3 are the same angle, and then 2 and 4 are the same angle, okay? Vertical angles are also congruent. So what to remember here is they are never adjacent. And again, guys, throughout this video, pause it when you need to. They are congruent. And remember that sign looks like this. And they are formed by two lines. If you need time to pause it and write that down, go ahead and do that. So angle 1 and angle 3 are vertical, and then angles 2 and angle 4 are vertical angles. Complementary angles are two angles that measures have a sum of 90 degrees. Each angle is called the complement of each other. So if we were to draw a picture, we could have this, and we have one angle here and one angle here, or we could have, angle A here, and this would be 30 degrees. And then we could have angle B here, and that would be 60 degrees. Okay, so what to remember is two angles add to 90 degrees. Don't have to be adjacent. That's a D, adjacent. And then one thing that you guys could remember is that compliment someone, it's the right thing to do. So if you're complimenting someone, it is the right thing to do. Complementary angles, complement, right angle, right thing to do. Supplementary angles are two angles whose measures have a sum of 180 degrees. So we could have the same line, or, angles like this. So 180 degrees would be like that. Or we could have two angles. So we could have a 120 degree angle, that's angle B, and we could also have a 60 degree angle for angle A. So two angles add to 180 degrees. They don't have to be adjacent. So that's the difference between, this one and this one. The top one is adjacent, the bottom one is not. Supplementary, the word up is in there, so you could think that 180 is up above 90 degrees. Linear pairs of angles is adjacent angles whose not shared side are opposite rays. So when you have this, right, they both share this side here, but they're talking about the not shared side are opposite rays, which would be right here. Okay, and this would be angle 1, this would be angle 2. Okay, so they have to be adjacent. They have to have an unshared side. That forms a line, which equals 180 degrees. Okay? So if you guys are at home, you can go through this in practice. I'm going to skip through it for the video purpose, but we're going to do this in class. Okay, so hopefully this didn't screw everything up, but postulate number 9 is the linear pair postulate, or LPP. So if two angles form a linear pair, then they are supplementary. So meaning if they form a line, a linear pair, remember it has to be a line, obviously that's not the nicest line, these are supplementary. So to find measures of angle ABC and measures of angle DBC. So for number 1, we have a supplementary, this is a linear pair, so we know that this whole thing is 180 degrees. So we can set that up and do 7q minus 46 plus 3q plus 6 equals 180 degrees. And then we're just going to solve. So we get 10q minus 40 equals 180. And then we'll add the 40 to both sides. So we'd have 10q equals 220. And then you'd want to divide by 10, so you get q equals 22. Now, we only know what q is, so we need to figure out what the measure is of each of the angles. So for the first one, we just plug in 22 for the q, so here and here. So the measure of angle ABD is 7 times 22 minus 46, which is 108. And again, you can just plug that into your calculator. And then for the measure of angle DBC, we're going to plug in 22 for q, and we end up getting 72 degrees. Remember to put that degree sign there. Okay. Now for number 2, you can draw a little picture if you want. And if I'm going too fast, again, just stop it and stop the slide where it is, take a little breather, and write it all down. Whoops, I didn't want to write that. So I didn't even read the directions like I told you guys to do. KPL and JPL are a linear pair. So here is our P is obviously the vertex. Whoops. So we would have, that would be P, this could be K, this could be L, and this could be J. Okay, so KPL is 2x plus 24, JPL is 4x plus 36. So again, we're going to set it up the same way. So if you're at home, pause it and try and solve it. So I'm going to, again, set it up and set 2x plus 24 plus 4x plus 36 equal to 180 degrees. Then I'm going to solve. I'm going to get 6x plus 60 equals 180. Then I'm going to get 6x equals 120. And then x equals 20. And then I need to find the measure. You're finding the measure of both. So the measure of angle KPL is, you're just going to plug in 20 for here, 20, 20. KPL, 2 times 20 is 40. 40 plus 24 would be 64 degrees. And then we can plug it in for the x here. Or we can just do 180 minus 64. So the measure of JPL is 116 degrees. Postulate number 10, vertical angles theorem. So when we have two lines that form angles, vertical angles are congruent. So 2 and 4 are congruent, and then 1 and 3 are also congruent. 2 is not congruent to 3, 1 is not congruent to 4. So that being said, we can go ahead and do some examples here. So if the measure of angle 2 is 100 degrees, okay, 2 and 4 are vertical angles, so they're congruent. That means that would also be 100. Now, think about linear pairs. This is one linear pair, and then this is another. So that being said, our linear pairs have to add up to 180 degrees. So if one of those is 100, what would the other one be? It has to be 80 degrees. So the measure of angle 1 is 80 degrees, the measure of angle 3 is 80 degrees, and the measure of angle 4 is 100 degrees. Now number 4 is a little different. We know that these are vertical angles, so they are congruent, so that means that they equal each other. So then we can do some solving. Now, yes, so if we subtract, we get 2x. Yes, in geometry, you are going to get decimals sometimes, so do not be afraid if you do. Okay, so the value of x for this is 10.5. Put it together. So at this point, go ahead and pause the video and try these, okay? I'm going to keep moving though. So for this one, b is part of a linear pair, so I can do 180 minus 146, which would be 30, whoops, I don't want to write it there. The measure of angle b is 34 degrees. For number 6, we have a 90-degree angle. If this side is 90 degrees, this side also has to be 90 degrees. So we can do 90 minus 53, and we get b is 37 degrees. For number 7, these two are vertical angles, so they have to be congruent. So if this one's 41, that means b is also 41 degrees. Okay, angle bisectors. So this is a different part. We're just putting it all in the same note. So congruent angles are angles with the same measure. That means that if angle A equals, or sorry, the measure of angle A is the measure of angle B, then A is congruent to B. Okay, you can also say that bottom part. If they are congruent, then their measures are the same, and this was the same with the line segments that we did a couple days ago. So use the diagram to the left. List all pair of congruent angles shown. I am just going to do a couple here. So I'm looking for the ones that have the same, you know, little congruent symbol there. Okay. So we definitely know that angle BAJ is congruent to angle DFE. But because those are vertical angles, they have another vertical angle down here and down here. Those are also congruent, okay? Then, if we're looking at another pair, these guys are vertical angles, and we have those different congruent signs there. So you could have, for time's sake, I'm just trying to go through this quick, but there are multiple different pairs of congruent angles there, okay? So then, if the measure of angle BJA, so BJA is right here, is 35, then what is FJH? Those two are congruent angles. They're also vertical angles. Vertical angles are congruent, and they have the congruent symbols there. So that is 35 degrees. If FHJ is 100, oh my gosh, I cannot talk this morning. If FHG, so FHG is right here. If this is 120 degrees, what is CBJ? So CBJ is over here, but they have the same congruent symbols here. They have those two like arcs. So that means that they are congruent to each other. So CBJ, the measure of CBJ, angle CBJ is 120 degrees. An angle bisector is a ray that divides an angle into two congruent angles. So you might see it like this, or you might see, you know, two arc lines instead, like this. That means that they are congruent, okay? And it has to say in the directions that, you know, your angle is being bisected. You just can't have any old thing like this and say that these are congruent if you do not have any information that they are congruent, okay? So in the diagram, ray GH bisects angle FGI. So that's what I was talking about. You need that in the directions to tell you that those angles are congruent. So first we are solving for x. So that means that because these are congruent, right? It's a bisector, an angle bisector, and we have these congruent symbols here, we can set 3x minus 3 and 4x minus 14 equal to each other in order to get x. So I'm going to have, let's see, if I add, so that would be 11 on this side and x over here, so x equals 11. And then in order to find the measures of each angle, I'm just going to plug it in. So the measure of angle HGI is the 4x one, so 4 times 11 minus 14. So we have 44 minus 14 is 30. Oh, I forgot one important part here. So we forgot to do this, the measure of FGH. So I need to plug that in first. Sorry, guys. So I'd have 3 times 11 minus 3, okay? That would mean I get 33 minus 3, which is 30 degrees. Now, if I bring that over here, I know that angle FGH is congruent to angle HGI because of their symbols here. So I didn't even have to do all this work. I could have just brought my answer down and said that. Now we need to find FGI. So that is the whole entire angle itself. The whole entire angle, okay? So with that being said, we know that we have to add angle FGI is angle FGH plus angle HGI. So all I need to do is add up 30 plus 30, and I get 60 degrees for my measure. Okay. Then our last one, ray BD bisects ABC. So if ABD is 3x plus 20, and measure of angle CBD is 6x minus 16, find the whole entire measure. So we're trying to find this whole guy here, okay? So first things first, we need to solve for x. So 3x plus 20 equals 6x minus 16, because we know they're congruent. So over on this side, I'd have 36. On the other side, I'd have 3x, and I'd get x equals 12. Now, what you need to do is we need to get one of these, or we can do both of them. It doesn't matter. But I'm just going to do 3 times 12 plus 20 because I know that this angle is congruent to this angle. So 36 plus 20 is 56 degrees. So that means that I need to do 56 plus 56 in order to get my measure of angle ABC, which is 112 degrees. Okay, so look on Canvas. You will have a homework page to do with this. And get it done, guys. Have a great weekend if I don't see you.